3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? This is the Undefeated by Choice podcast brought to you by Still Fist. And this is another segment of Just My Opinion. And it's going to be a controversial one, y'all, so get ready for it. We all know I'm not a fan of the man known as Conor McGregor. And I had posted something on the Instagram page asking if you all wanted me to talk about the interview he had with Ariel Helwani, and only about 58% said they wanted me to. So the rest who didn't want me to, you don't have to listen to this if you don't want to. I'm not going to say things that you want me to say, but I do want to comment about that, and I actually was not going to. I figured it's been done to death, but then this video came out about BJ Penn and a bar fight, and I've been reading and listening to a bunch of interviews on that and people talking about that. And I thought, I found a funny correlation between the two. Obviously, they were both kind of bar fights, but I was what I was seeing was a lot of people were saying that BJ Penn's legacy is now tarnished for getting in this bar fight, and I thought it was interesting that was the takeaway. In a very serious, very, very seriously, I think that we need to address this what's going on or what's happening with BJ Penn. This is now multiple times we've seen him getting in altercations where alcohol is involved, and BJ Penn has been taking head trauma for a very long time. This is a very real thing. We don't like to think about it. We don't like to talk about it because, it's a scary thing, and this is a sport that we all love. But it's very real that BJ Penn is probably BJ Penn has brain trauma. Everybody does. Anybody who's taken a shot to the head at any point, you've got some sort of brain trauma. The extent of it, we don't know. Could be a little. He could have a very hard skull, and his brain doesn't get mushed around very much. And all the wars that he's been in, he's not that bad. But this type of behavior is kind of leaning the other way. That it may be a little worse than we thought. And that's very sad and scary for him and his family. And I think he really needs to get some help. But that aside, I watched the video. The first one I watched was the one of him getting put on his back. And the video starts out, it's real quick. Everything happens real quick. The guy throws a heavy right hand. BJ slips it. Hands are down. He's not even like defending himself really. His hands are down. He's just kind of talking trash. You can tell he's just kind of yelling at the guy's face, just kind of giving him problems. So his hands are down. The guy throws a heavy right hand. BJ slips it, gets out of the way. Guy falls on his face, pops back up, shoots a single leg on BJ. BJ's hopping around on one leg. Guy's trying to take him down. It's not happening. BJ, again, not throwing any punches, not doing anything. Just hands are down by his side. At this point, BJ's trying to get like underhooks so he can separate himself. He gets the underhooks in, kind of. They separate themselves. They kind of spin. The dude throws a right hand, kind of bounces off the top of BJ's head, doesn't really hit him really hard, kind of looks like a slap. And then he throws a heavy left hand, hits BJ on the chin. BJ goes flat onto his back, head bounces off the concrete. And that is where most people, I guess, stopped watching the video because they've all said, BJ got knocked out cold. BJ is, if you watch the video, you can count 1,000, 2 1,000. BJ gets back up. He wasn't out cold. It wasn't like this dude, knocked him out and BJ woke up and didn't know where he was. That, they didn't need a ref in there to wake him up. They didn't need smelling salt. They didn't need anything. 2 seconds, BJ's on the ground. He pops back up. And he's moving the entire time. He's not even like flat. Like if you watch the TMZ version, they kind of edit it so he falls and then falls on his back, and then they pause the video. The actual video, BJ goes down and pops right back up. So this whole he got knocked out, legend gets knocked out, it's kind of misleading. He does get knocked down. He does eat a hard shot and go down. But it's not like, it's not like the lights were out. And then he pops back up. And then there's a second video that I saw second. And so in my head, this is the sequence of events. I don't know which video was which. I've heard a few people say that this is how it went. First, this dude knocked BJ down, and then BJ got up, and then they got back into fighting again. And the second video I see is about, there's only about 3 seconds that you can see of the actual fight. And then the crowd kind of closes in around what's going on. And what it is the crowd, or BJ's on this guy's back. This guy's flattened out on his stomach, not moving, not kicking, not guarding himself. He's just down, face down, and BJ is landing heavy left hands to the side of his face. Got hooks in and everything, and everyone's trying to pull BJ off. And then the crowd kind of gets around. You can't really tell what happens. So you don't know how many shots he landed. You don't know if he got into a rear naked choke. You don't know any of this. You just see this guy down, and you see BJ getting his shots back. So, I mean, if you watch in that sequence, BJ won the fight. If you watch it in the other sequence, the other guy won the fight. Neither of it matters. It's drunken, bar brawl, stupid, childish, dangerous, self-destructive, not good. So that's that should be the takeaway, is that this was not a good thing. This isn't cool. This wasn't something is wrong. Because I kind of feel for BJ in this, because that like old school mentality, like if you were to go to prison, you find the biggest, baddest dude at the prison, and you just go up and punch him, and then everyone's going to respect you. Or it's kind of that way at school. You find the biggest, toughest kid at school, and you go and knock him out, and then everyone's going to think you're the biggest, toughest guy at school, or no one will mess with you after that. This world that we live in now, this society we live in now, you don't have to be the biggest and baddest. You just have to be considered the best fighter. So BJ Penn, who fights at 155 pounds, sometimes a little higher, sometimes a little less, is a target anytime he goes anywhere. So anybody who wants to test themselves, that's the dude they're going to go to. The dude with the great boxing, with the great chin. This dude who is fighting BJ looks to have 40 or 50 pounds on him. He's a big dude, wearing camo shorts with a white belt, which is a huge no-no. I mean, that may have been what caused the fight. BJ was probably laughing at his lame white belt. I mean, come on, man. I bet this dude, before he took his shirt off, I bet he was wearing an American Fighter shirt. I almost am willing to bet my life on it. Before this dude got into it with BJ Penn, he had white sunglasses with an American Fighter shirt and a white belt and on his camo shorts. I bet that if you search that, I guarantee you're gonna find out that was the outfit he was wearing. And so, anyways. So this dude's bigger than BJ, and some of the reports, which hold no water, because nobody really knows, but some of the reports said that this guy was instigating, that BJ was actually the victim of this. But being a fighter, being who he is, being the name that he has, he is a target. I know this for a fact, because I know when I go out, anybody who finds out that I even train, I'm not a fighter. I never consider myself a fighter. I train with fighters. I help fighters. People find this out, and all of a sudden you see if what they're thinking. Oh, should I test myself against this guy? And they're sizing you up, and you see it. And so anybody who fights, and if you go out, you know what I'm talking about. You've experienced it. So like, it's not safe, and which is unfortunate, because you should be able to enjoy your life. You should be able to, go out without having to worry about people testing you, without worrying about getting into altercations. You should be able to just be a professional and have it all in the cage. You shouldn't never be out in the street. And so, I feel for BJ. I do think that he's got some issues. I mean, when he took this fight with Nick Lance, Nick came out, to all the news outlets and was saying how bad of a dude BJ is and how he treats everybody terrible. So, I mean, he already doesn't have the greatest reputation. He could have an anger issue. This is all speculation. He could have all this stuff that causes him to just get into these fights. And you got this Hawaiian mentality that Max Holloway always talks about, that Hawaiians are always ready to scrap, they're always ready to throw down. It's the culture, it's the way they are. So maybe there isn't head trauma. Maybe this is just the way BJ has always lived his life, and now that there's cell phones and cameras everywhere, we're catching it. We're seeing it all now. I don't really know. What I do know is that I think it's very, very unfair to say that his legacy has been tarnished because of this fight, which is what the original article I read was, BJ gets into a bar fight, his legacy, UFC legend, his legacy has been tarnished and blah, 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 blah. Okay, you want to say that? Fine. If that's what you think, fine. If that is the result of getting into a bar fight, fine. The problem I have is that the same person who was reporting this also reported Conor McGregor's apology, and no mention of his legacy being tarnished. He apologized, so we're all good, right? I don't think so. And this is why. I watched the interview. I watched the apology. And yeah, he did say, I've messed up. I need to work on some things. But really what he did was just avoid talking about what had happened, what he had done, because I'm pretty sure he knows there's no forgiveness for punching an old man in the face. Cheap shotting an old man in the face who just didn't want to drink your whiskey. So what he did, very cleverly said, I'm going to do this apology with Ariel Helwani. And Ariel, I feel like is a 50-50 job. I feel like Ariel did a decent job, but obviously there's a lot more he could have done, a lot deeper he could have gone. But Luke Thomas did a whole interview about the interview, saying, as journalists or whatever we call ourselves, if you make a fighter angry and they're very sensitive, you'll never get that interview again. And where you have probably one of the biggest names in the business, I guess I need to admit he is the biggest name in the business. You don't want to really burn that bridge. So I feel like Ariel did the best that he could. I definitely felt he could have done more. But that aside, he brought it up. Okay, so what happened? Conor's response is, I made a mistake. I did something I shouldn't have done. I want to move forward from it. I don't really want to dwell on it. It was 5 months ago. I tried to make it. I've tried to make it right back then. I just want to move forward and focus on the future. Okay. I don't accept that, and I don't think any of us should. We're the fans, which means we get to judge whether we want to continue to watch you or not. We get to judge whether you're going to still be on TV. We get to judge whether you get the paychecks. We get to judge if we are paying for your pay-per-views. So if we're the judge, we need the evidence. Okay? We need to know what happened. What brought you to this? What was your mentality? What did he say to you? If you go into a police station and say, hey, I murdered somebody, and they go, okay, what happened? And you go, I don't want to talk about it. I did it, and I just want to move forward with whatever I got to do, and I want to get it past me. I want to put it in the past. I want to put it behind me, and I just want to move forward. They're going to go, that's not how it works. We need to know everything so that we can properly dish out your punishment. You don't get to just say, yeah, I messed up and I don't want to talk about it when you're in this type of situation, because you're trying to get our forgiveness. If you don't want to apologize to the old man, if you don't want to apologize to the fans, don't do an apology interview. Just say, yeah, I hit him. Yeah, he pissed me off. You don't have to say, if you say I'm going to apologize, then you need to apologize, and you need to explain to us what the situation was, why your apologies, why you feel bad, because it happened 5 months ago and you're just doing it now, which in my mind means you're not really sorry. You're just sorry you got caught, which is, an old saying, like you're not sorry. You're just sorry you got caught. You're sorry that 5 months later TMZ found the video of you sucker punching an old man in the face. I was raised to be respectful of my elders. I was raised not to punch elders in the face. And so in my mind, there's really no excuse Conor could give. I mean, there are, like, if this old man was, putting my daughter's life in danger, then yes, he's eating a stiff left hand to the face. But if he just even talked any type of trash or even said, if it was just a verbal thing, then you don't punch him in the face. And we do know pretty much what the old man said. He said, I don't want to drink that shit. That's it. He just said he didn't want to drink your whiskey. And you were coming in, you could see the video, he's being boisterous, he's being loud, you could tell he's, trying to control the room, trying to take over the room, that's probably what he does everywhere he goes. And he wants to celebrate his whiskey, he wants people drinking his whiskey, and I get it, you think you're celebrating, but some people don't like that personality, some people don't like that, so you have to adjust, you have to understand, this isn't my like wheelhouse, these people aren't they're not my fan base. So if an old man says, I don't want to drink that, and he puts your drink aside, you don't have the right to punch him in the face. That's not how society works. You don't get to do that. We have laws against that. So, I don't see any room for forgiveness in that. I can say, as far as that goes, I can say, he's become a better person. That was a mistake. He did this wrong. He's gone to therapy. He's worked on himself. He's tried to become a better person. And I can move forward and say he's trying to be a better person. But the forgiveness of you just punching someone in the face because you got mad and they're an old man, like, even if they weren't an old man, even if it was a young man, that's still really not acceptable. So where I tie the whole BJ Penn thing into it is, BJ Penn's fight was with a willing participant, a man, that was willing to fight back, outweighed him, probably younger than him. Those are my guesses. It was more of a fair fight, and so it was a fight. Conor McGregor, an unwilling participant who didn't even want to participate in a conversation with him, let alone a fight with him, gets a stiff left, a straight left to the face, to the jaw. Conor's trying to put it on the button to put this guy out because he didn't want anything to do with him. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. So if BJ's legacy is tarnished because he got into a bar fight with someone who wanted to fight him back, then Conor McGregor's legacy is definitely tarnished for sucker punching an old man in the face. There's no more clear way I can lay this out and show this is the person that we're dealing with. This is the type of person. This is why it's unfair. Maybe I shouldn't have said this type of person we're dealing with. This is why it's unfair. That the media is trying to tell us who we should cheer for and who we shouldn't. BJ's on his way out. Let's throw BJ under the bus. BJ's on his way out. He's on the biggest losing streak in UFC history. He hasn't won a fight in forever. We can throw him under the bus and say, hey, you can't do this. Conor, there's a chance he could come back and make us a lot of money, so, and do a lot of trash talking to make people excited. So, yeah, let's forgive him for what he did. BJ, you're out. Conor, you're forgiven. I'm not cool with that. I'm not gonna jump on board with that. No. If I'm gonna say, BJ, your legacy's tarnished, definitely Conor, your legacy is tarnished. And and so earlier I kind of said, well, I feel bad for BJ. He's probably got a lot of brain trauma. I don't know what Conor McGregor's brain trauma is. He's also taken shots to the head. He's also, been in some wars. And I look at the choices that he makes. One, he the biggest one I see is him jumping on an airplane, flying across the country to attack Khabib Nurmagomedov for approaching Artem Lobov, threatening him, making him feel uncomfortable, making him feel unsafe. He gets onto an airplane with a group of people, flies across the country, plans to have people planted inside the building to open up doors for him to allow him and his entire crew to go in to start a fight with another group of people. And at no point anybody said, hey, let's not do this. And the fact that he was so fired up the entire time that he never said, guys, maybe we should rethink this. Maybe we shouldn't do this. That is a very thought out, planned, orchestrated attack. That's not okay. That's not a normal way to react. That is I'm not a therapist, but that seems like psychotic. That seems psychotic to me, to have that much planned to come and attack somebody. It wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. It wasn't like, oh, I gotta protect Artem and then run over. No, that's like, oh, we're going to go cause some terror. So that's the first red flag where I was like, this guy, there's something wrong. There's something wrong, and we're glorifying it. We are like cheering it on. It's not okay. The second is, the little scuffle he had, just grabbing the guy's phone and throwing it down because he was taking pictures of him. I can almost excuse that. I can't imagine what it's like to be a celebrity. I can't imagine what they have to go through. Always having cameras in their faces, always having, the fans expect a lot out of them. Hey, can you just do this one little thing for me? And I can't imagine what they go through. So that's almost like, okay, like I'll let that one slide, because I just can't imagine how awful sometimes being a celebrity would be. And so, he does it. It's not okay. You can't grab someone else's property and destroy it. But, I'm not gonna put him over the coals for that one. And then he punches an old man in the face because he doesn't want his whiskey. I'm definitely gonna hold that one against you. I'm definitely gonna not accept anything. I'm not gonna accept that as being okay under any circumstances. So. And then this one I didn't want to bring up just because we haven't got anything on it, but we have to remember there also is reported by the New York Times sexual allegations against Conor McGregor. If these are true, and what's frustrating is that we haven't gotten the information on that yet. Like, how is this still a case? Because I'll tell you what, if I'm in his situation, and not even I'm in his situation, if I'm in my situation, if I'm me walking down the street and I get pulled over by the cops and like, are you Matt? And I'm, yeah, this girl said you did something. I am going to say, no, I do not want this attached to my name. How are we going to clear it? What videotapes do we need to find? Who do we need to talk to? Who needs to investigate us? What lie detectors do I need to take? I'm going to do everything I can to clear my name on this. I'm going to do everything I can so that no one will ever accuse me of anything. They'll be like, oh, I can't just accuse Matt because he's not just going to lay down and take it. He's going to fight to clear his name because he doesn't want anything like that attached to his name. Conor McGregor had this chance to go on an apology tour and say, oh, and by the way, these sexual allegations are completely false. It's going to be proven through court. We have to go through the system. I can't really talk about it right now, but we are going to prove that I'm innocent, blah, 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 blah. Whatever you're going to do. Whatever you can say. I'm sure there is, I'm sure there's things you can't say, but I'm sure there's plenty that you can say to at least put it out there that you are fighting to clear your name. It was radio silence. Ariel didn't ask him about it. No one has asked him about it. We haven't heard anything about it. We haven't gotten any clarification on it. If this is true, if those sexual allegations are true, we never need to watch him fight again. We never need to see him again. I am dead set on that. If you are a sexual abuser of anybody, you are not a good person. You do not deserve a fan base. You do not deserve anything. I'm going to jump off this topic real quick because it hasn't been proven, and so I'm not going to put that on him. I'm just saying, if that is true, we need to know. It needs to come out. And so, but it hasn't. And so I'm not going to just say, he has this. I'm going to just say there was a report by the New York Times. This is a very reputable news reporters, a very reputable source of the news. They tend not to just like throw things out there that is like, made up. So, okay, if this is true, we need to know. It needs to be found out. There's a victim out there. There's a victim out there who needs clarification. And then there was something very there's two very stupid things about that interview that really stood out to me to just be stupid. One was he didn't really address any of the issues really. He just was like, yeah, I messed up, I want to move forward. But his way to repentance, his way to forgiveness was just to step back into the octagon. Like, oh well, I messed up, I should start training and fighting again. What? The only way you're going to sell a fight, Conor, is by doing what you do, which is being a circus show of disrespect and silliness and aggression, and you're going to do so what are you do? How is that forgiveness? You're going to get our forgiveness by doing the same thing that you did to get yourself into this mess? Like, how is that your way to forgiveness? How is that your way to, I want people to forgive me for punching an old man in the face, so I'm going to go punch somebody else in the face? Like, dude, you need help is what you need. You need therapy. If you want me to forgive you, say, I'm going to anger therapy. I'm going to get my brain looked at to see why I'm so aggressive and why I fly off the handle on the littlest things. That's how you're going to get my forgiveness. To step back in the octagon does nothing. Does not make me feel safer if I were around you. Being someone who's been outwardly like hating on him since like day one, I would never feel safe in a room with him. If anyone was like, hey, by the way, this kid, this guy right here has done nothing but talk shit on you since he got his mouth behind a microphone, I'd be scared that I'm going to get sucker punched in the face. That's not the solution. So really, this was not an apology tour. This was just a way for him to announce that he's thinking about fighting again, to get everybody excited about Conor McGregor coming back. Oh, who should he fight? Oh, all these good matchups for Conor. Not really. Not Khabib. That dude's going to smoke him again. I'm not going to go on the list of people who I think could beat Conor, but the second thing that bothered me was he said, I need to learn to not take the bait. I need to learn to not be pushed over the edge with these people. True. That's true. You do. But this old man, it wasn't putting out bait for you. He wanted nothing to do with you. He wasn't like, I'm going to piss off Conor McGregor and get punched in the face and get a lot of money from him. Some people probably do that, and I guarantee Conor runs into that all the time. And for that, that's unfortunate. That sucks for him. I feel bad for him in that aspect. That there are probably people, like I said, with the, they're going to be like, oh, that's Conor McGregor. Let me see how tough I am. Let me test myself against him. So just like I was talking about during the BJ Penn thing, like I get that, I understand that, and that sucks that he has to deal with that. But his equation to it being the situation in this bar with him punching this old man, that's not what it was, Conor. You're just a dickhead. You're just a dickhead who punches old people in the face when you get upset with them. That's all it is to it. He wasn't baiting you. There was no bait in this situation. You are a dick. So that's all I can say about it. And those are the main things that frustrated me about this interview. Is one, it wasn't an apology. It was just an announcement for him to say he's thinking about coming back to the cage. Two, he's trying to paint himself the victim. He's trying to make himself the victim of this situation. And you're not. You were not the victim. You were the attacker. You are an attacker. Plain and simple. Bottom line. No question. You can't argue it. You can't come back at me and tell me he was a victim in this situation. I don't care what the old man said to him. I saw the video. There's nothing that old man could say that would cause a just person, a normal person, a reasonable person to haul off and sucker punch him in the face. Not acceptable. So, if one legacy is tarnished, two legacies are definitely tarnished. That's just my opinion, and I'm going to have a hard time if you're going to try to convince me, trying to convince me otherwise. But I'm willing to hear it. I want to hear what everyone has to say. I want to see what everyone else's thoughts are on this topic. So go ahead, leave comments in anywhere you're listening to this. Go ahead and leave comments. I check all of them. I will respond to them if I can. If you think I'm just a hater, then that's fine. I've never tried to pretend to really enjoy this guy. I've always, I've been very clear about my feelings towards Conor McGregor. I feel like I've tried to give him the benefit of the doubt with things, but whatever. If you agree with me, let me know. If you don't agree with me, let me know. This is just my opinion. I'd like to hear yours. You can find this podcast on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. You can also find Still Fist at Still Fist Fight on Instagram and Still Fist Fight Night on Facebook. Please give us a like and subscribe, and make sure you make it to our next show in October. I'm going to be doing the interviews here really soon. I'm going to start doing the interviews just like a month out. I'm not going to try to get them too far out. I want to kind of group them together so it's all kind of close and fresh. So I'm sorry I've been MIA for a minute, but we had a month off of fights. I'm getting ready to go out to New Orleans to watch the Saints opening game, Monday Night Football. So I've been just kind of getting ready for that and doing a lot of training. Got some teammates fighting for other organizations whose names I'm not going to mention on here because I'm a Still Fist boy. So everybody, be sure to check us out. Like I said, give us a like, subscribe, and a share. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other. I love you.